Conference, the UAB Blazers, and the Blazers are entering year 5 of the Casey Dunn era, and I'm a little surprised that they haven't had more success in his tenure. Yes, this is a very challenging job, relative to some of those programs in the American, like East Carolina, Tulane, South Florida, Charlotte, etc. From a facility standpoint and so forth, although they have been going through some upgrades there at Young Memorial Stadium. But taking a look at Coach Dunn's tenure there, after spending over a decade and a half at nearby Samford, where he racked up over 530 wins and took them to 3 or 4 NCAA tournaments and had so much success. I love this hire. Thus far, there in Birmingham, Casey Dunn, he went 31-25 in year 1, then 17-37, 26-29, and then last year 24-30, where the Blazers 8-19, missing the American Conference tournament after having finished 5th in 2024. And something I found very interesting is that the Blazers, despite finishing last, had 5 all-conference selections, led by Todd Clay. You had Todd as the co-newcomer position player of the year. He, unfortunately, after hitting 361 with 7 bombs and 51 RBIs, has moved on to Auburn. And then guys like Logan Braunschweig and Colin Daniel, they moved on to professional careers with the Atlanta Braves, getting drafted in the 9th and 11th rounds, respectively. The lone returner of those all-conference selections is Brendan Connor. He made the all-freshman team after a stellar first year with the Blazers, and looking forward to seeing what he can do in 2026. Before I dive into the roster specifically, I wanted to talk about the schedule and a little about the roster makeup in general terms. Taking a look at the schedule, after opening with 3 games at Florida against the Gators, and of note, the Blazers do play 8 games against SEC competition in addition to those 3 against Florida, and they play 2 against Auburn, home and home, also home and home with Bama, with those games against the Tigers and Crimson Tide being played off campus at Regions Field. And then lastly, they play Mississippi State in Starkville in a midweek affair. And then also, as far as their schedule is concerned, they have a lot of home games early, which will hopefully allow them to get off to a solid start. They have a 4-game series against a Big 12 opponent in Cincinnati there at Young Memorial, and then a very solid opponent in Turner Brown and the Jacksonville Dolphins. Of course, Turner's, I think, in his second or third season there with the Dolphins. You have Middle Tennessee State out of Conference USA for 3, and then Belmont for 3. So they'll have a chance after that Florida series to get off to an excellent start, albeit against some decent competition, before they come to East Carolina to open league play. Within the league, in addition to going to East Carolina, they have to go to UTSA in their final series. So the top 2 teams in the league kind of book in their conference slate. In between, they go to Tulane, then at FAU. They host Tulane. I misspoke, and then they go to FAU. They host Wichita State, then go to South Florida, and then host Memphis, go to Rice, and then host the Charlotte 49ers. So a fairly balanced schedule, although it's bookended by the top 2 teams in the league, at least in the preseason poll, that is, and that's East Carolina and UTSA. Now taking a look at this roster, there are 19 newcomers, 3 4-year transfers. 10 of those 19 are JUCOs, and then 6 freshmen. From the transfer ranks, you have Alex Dupuis. He comes over from LSU Eunice. Had a very solid career there. Last year had 4 home runs, 11 doubles, 5 triples, and stole 36 bases. Then you also have from Shelton State, junior college, Mason Steele. He's a 2-way player. He hit well over 300, and then also logged more than 100 innings on the mound. Drew Thompson, a transfer that pitched 70 innings, 6'2" with, he is 6'2" and 225 pounds, so a big right-handed arm that logged more than 70 innings. And And then Mason Steele that I mentioned, he is 6'3", right at 200 pounds. And in addition to being a right-handed pitcher, plays the outfield to go along with that solid bat that I already referenced. Baylor Roberts from high school, but he is someone that I've seen mentioned on the UAB website as someone that could make an early contribution as a freshman. And now moving on to the returners, you have Wes Helms. Wes, who's a senior, he led the American Conference, led UAB with 34 hits in league play a season ago. Alex Cheeseman, he's someone that stole a lot of bases a season ago and is the Blazers returner, returning leader, I should say, in that category. Also, second amongst returners in hits and runs. And those are the only two position players that UAB has back that participated in more than 70% of the games in 2025. A couple guys to keep an eye on that didn't necessarily put up great numbers last year as freshmen, but have potential are John Paul Head and Landon Beaver. Both are outfielders. Beaver also plays first base. John Paul Head, 6'1", 220. He played in 16 games last year, started 13, and then Beaver, 6'2", 205, played in 27 games, starting 18. Both of those are Alabama kids that could be potential breakout candidates in 2026. On the mound, you got Chase Ingram. He's a senior righty, 6'4", 235. He had 15 appearances a year ago, started 11 of those, 2-5 with a 5.37 ERA. Opponents hit 314 against him, 57 innings with 41 Ks. And then Brendan Connor, as I mentioned, Brendan earned those all-freshman honors a season ago. 6 feet, 215 pounds, a right-handed arm, 20 appearances, started 3 games, 1-2 with a 3.93 ERA, allowing 46 hits in 50 1/3 innings. And opponents hit just 249 against him. Kevin Hall, he's a junior. He's coming over from Purdue. Not Purdue, but Purdue Fort Wayne. At Purdue Fort Wayne, he played in 51 games, started all but one of those, hit just shy of 300, and get this, had a 1,000. That's right, a perfect 1,000 fielding percentage and right around 140 or 150 chances last year, and had 5 home runs. So Kevin Hall, he's someone that could really be a key contributor as a newcomer this year for UAB. And I think that just about does it. But as I mentioned, about 20 newcomers this year for the Blazers to go along with 17 returners, as Coach Casey Dunn in his 5th season looks to get something going there in Birmingham.
Hello.
Yep, I got you.
Okay. Bubba, I keep, I'm in the kitchen and there's a lot going on here, so I keep muting my mic so that you don't hear any of the background stuff, and then I forget that it's muted.
No problem.
Hey, I just got a text from somebody that said that I called Blade Carver Blake Carver, which I find impossible to believe. Because Blade,
if you said Blade, I dropped it in the group chat. I do think it sounded like Blake to me.
Okay,
I knew you knew better, so I didn't want to correct you.
Let me finish. Blade Carver instantly became, a member of the All Pirate Name Team Hall of Fame when I first heard of him, coming out of Georgia, and I know his name, and my writing is so terrible because I write so fast. I did the songs right before the show, so if I said Blake Carver, I apologized to Blade Carver because I certainly know better than that.
Oh, no problem. Like I said, I knew you knew better. I didn't want to mention it, guys, but appreciate whoever was chiming in and paying close attention and keeping us dotting our I's and crossing our T's, so to speak, and making us pay attention to detail. But that's all I had on.
Bubba, you know what I need to do going forward when we do stuff like this? When I'm taking a lot of notes, I need a finer point pen, because I'm telling you, man, it was a struggle my writing was not good today because I was in such a hurry. And next time I'll use a better pen with a finer, delivery or whatever.
Oh, no problem. Either that, or you can always just type them up if you have the ability to print them off, and make sure you have access to the laptop. But anyway, I'm kind of wrapping things up here because that is all I had on UAB. And I'm very intrigued, like I said, to see how Coach Dunn and that staff fare this year after a disappointing 2025, because he is a heck of a coach and a very challenging job there at UAB.